Hi everyone, welcome to Mel's Go Slow Crochet. Welcome back if you are returning, and if it's your first time here, then a very warm welcome. I hope you stick around. So you guys probably realized I didn't put up a video last week in my usual scheduled time. I unfortunately came down with a bit of illness that's been going around our house. Nothing serious, just like a bit of a virus or a cold or something. We almost got through winter without it, but there we go. It hit, and it had a couple of days off of work, and I just didn't feel up to sitting down and videoing. But it means that today's video is probably going to be a bit higgledy-piggledy because I've got so many things I want to talk about and I don't want to forget anything. So it might be a little bit all over the shop. So I've got lots of little props and things next to me that I want to talk through. So hopefully I remember everything. But yeah, basically it'll be a bit more scattered than usual. So yes, welcome. I hope you have all been well and haven't been unwell. So to get started, I guess I'll go through a bit of the things I've been working on while being unwell. So the last video I did a fortnight ago, you might recall I showed my Sophie scarf that I had been knitting via a Learn to Knit workshop at Yarn Traders in Port Adelaide. And I was almost done, and I thought, oh, I will get it done before the next class, but I didn't know how much was left. Anyway, I finished it that night. It really went very quickly afterwards. So here is my final completed Sophie scarf. Now we did do a little bit, so the pattern is from Petite Knits, and I did do a little bit of an adjustment where in the middle here I added just 10 straight rows just to try and give it a bit more length, because I've got a pretty big neck and it's quite short. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. I mean, yes, it's not perfect, but it's only the second project I'd ever knitted, and I'm really happy. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So just to let you know that the yarn that I ended up using was one that I got from the Gummaraka Spinners and Weavers Festival back in June. So open day, I should say. And that was by a local yarn dyer called Dovedale. So it was an 8-ply, 75% merino, 25% nylon. I used 4mm knitting needles with this, and the colour was called Cypress. And I think it worked up really beautifully. It is so gorgeous and soft and lovely to wear around the neck. So that's that one. Oh, and I only used less than 100 grams. I think it was around 75 grams of yarn. So a nice one skein project that you can do. The other thing, so once I finished that, my next focus on my priority list that I've been sticking to doing one thing at a time, the next thing that popped up was finishing off my scarf using the cashmere blend. So I finished that as well. I ended up using 3 skeins of this in this scarf, so it's very long, but I love it, and being a long scarf seems to be the style at the moment. So I put a bit of fringe at the bottom. It was crocheted using the Suzette stitch, which is a stitch that works up really quickly, and I just really love, and it's a nice bit of texture. It's lovely and soft. So this yarn I got from Fibre Feast, which is held here in March every year, and so I got that yarn from Fibre Feast. It is by a company called Fibre Naturally, an alpaca woolen mill, who are based in Victoria. And the yarn itself is called OMG, it's so soft. It's an 8-ply cashmere. So it's 65% alpaca, 20% cashmere, 15% merino. And that was just made using a 4mm hook. So I have been wearing that to work Glad I got it finished before all the winter weather left us, so I've been able to wear it. It's so beautiful and soft and super warm, and like I said, it's really long, which seems to be on trend, but I just didn't want a short scarf because I like to double up the scarf and, like, you know, loop it through and stuff. So that has been working beautifully. I'm really happy with that one. So yeah, finished that off, and then let me think, what did I get up to after we last spoke? So about a fortnight ago, I had my next, so 2 Saturdays ago, I had my next knitting workshop, which was learning to knit in the round. And for that workshop, we've been learning how to make a cowl. So I decided to take along the very green yarn, which I wouldn't normally buy, but I won it at the Gummaraka Spinners and Weavers Open Day in a raffle, and so I wanted to see how it worked up. I thought, oh, I don't just want this yarn to go to waste, I want to see how it works up. So this is a bit of a mess because the yarn went rolling across the floor earlier, but basically it is very green. People in the class were very kind, saying, oh, that yarn is lovely. So we are knitting a cowl in the round. It's got some increases, decreases, some lace work. I'm hoping it'll build up nicely. So I'm only like, I'm not even, I don't even know, like I've got to be like, I've done one, it's an 8-row repeat, and I've done one lot of the repeats, and so I'm on to the second lot, and I forgot to put a lifeline in, which was very silly, so I'm hoping I don't make any mistakes. Somehow I've gotten to this point without making any glaring mistakes, but look, some of the stitches are not very neat, but I think that's just going to come with practice. Anyway, so that's what I'm knitting at the moment, but that's sort of been put aside because once I finished off my cashmere scarf, the next thing on my priority list was crocheting Anne's granny blanket. Now that is a project that Jill from Gumleaf Crochet has posted on her YouTube channel as a playlist, so I will link to that playlist. Anne is one of her community members and kindly shared a pattern that she'd been working on with granny squares into a bit of a square blanket. So I have started that. Well, actually I'd already started, I had one square done, but now that I'm focusing on it, that is my next focus. So I've only finished 4 of these squares. They're all the same. So they are using the Stylecraft Special DK yarn. The darkest purple is called Proper Purple. This one is lavender, I believe, and the lightest one is called Heather. So I've only done 4 squares. I've almost finished the 5th square, working on this during the evenings watching telly. We do 9 of these bigger squares, and then we join them together and then do several rounds of like borders and edges and that sort of stuff. So traditionally, when I'm doing granny square blankets, I tend to lose interest when it comes time to join them together, which is so terrible because that's when it all comes together. So I'm hoping that this focusing on one project at a time will mean that this will get done. And so it does. Look, this channel is called Go Slow Crochet for a reason, because I only crochet for like an hour or 2 a night, and so things and I am slow at crocheting. I'm not one of those speedsters that you see on YouTube or on a lot of public transport. I would love to be, but I've tried to speed up and I just find I just get caught up. Anyway, speed is not my thing. So it takes I reckon about 3 or so days for me to finish a square. So anyway, the plan on my priority list is to do that one next, and the plan was to have it finished by the end of September, and I can't see why that wouldn't happen. It's been really good so far. This focusing on one project at a time has meant that I've actually been finishing things before I had scheduled myself to finish them, which is a nice feeling. There are some months like September where I've actually got 3 things that I want to finish before the end of September. So the dates aren't firm. It would be great if I could finish this early and then I can go back to my cowl. And what was the 3rd thing for September? Oh, my husband's beanie, which has been sitting around forever, which is half done. So that's not going to take very long. But yeah, I've been sticking to that, focusing on one project at a time, and it has really been working. And in between, the knitting workshops have come, so they've been sort of factored in. But now that bundle of workshop has finished, because that was a what do they call it? A My Knitting Toolbox. So it's to get you started on learning how to knit, how to purl, how to knit in the round. What was the other thing we learned? Oh, and increases and decreases, and how to follow a pattern, that sort of thing. So those are the things we've learned. Now, I don't know if you saw my last video. I was talking about how I would really love to, when this comes to an end, learn how to knit socks and how to knit jumpers, because they are like the 2 main articles of clothing that I think look really, like, just look stunning knitted. And so I really wanted to learn how to knit to be able to do those in the future. However, this really, 2026 has turned into the year of knitting, because I think it was later, so that was the last video, so 2 weeks ago, and then later that day, I reckon, or the next morning, sometime very close to finishing that video, I had been on a waiting list for, there was a Learn to Knit Your First Sock workshop being held at Yarn Trader, and I originally hadn't signed up for it because I thought, well, hang on, I haven't even learned how to knit yet, so that might be reaching a bit, because they sort of came out around the same time as the Toolbox series did. So I didn't sign up. Anyway, then when I was like, oh, no, I'm enjoying this, I would like to learn how to do that, I think I'm ready. There were no places left, so I put myself on the wait list. Anyway, so later that afternoon, after I finished the last video, I got an email to say a place has opened up and would I like to join in? And so I jumped on it really quickly because I didn't want to miss out. So that is this weekend. So this weekend I will be learning how to knit my first pair of socks, which I'm super excited about. And I've got my yarn all ready to go. Oh, and I didn't leave it in a convenient place. Do excuse me. So I'm using this, which I only had 100 grams of this in this color. This is a superwash sock wool, I think. It is by Circus Tonic Handmade Jubilee sock. 75% merino, 25% nylon. 100 grams, there's 425 meters here, so plenty to make a pair of socks. This was part of a yarn set for a little book club that they had, where the colors of the yarn were inspired by a cover of a book, and this was inspired by the cover of Tenderfoot by Tony Jordan. So I bought this a while ago. You might have seen it if you've been watching my other videos. I showed it off when it arrived. Didn't really know what to use it for. I think it'll make gorgeous little socks, so we'll give that a try. So I'm really excited about that. That is all ready to go for the weekend. Yeah, so that'll be on Saturday. Not the best timing because my father-in-law is visiting from Western Australia. So I will be out all of Saturday doing that, but we will have dinner together Saturday night and hopefully be able to spend the rest of the weekend together as a family. But the timing wasn't the greatest, but I just wanted to jump on it. I didn't want to miss out. I have major FOMO. So, and then the other thing that happened was like 2 days later or 2 days earlier or whatever. As we've been doing this, this initial Learn to Knit bundle of workshops, we were talking with the teacher about how a few of us in the class would really love to learn to knit a jumper. And so she said, I'll see what I can do about organising classes, but it probably won't be this year. anyway, they announced that those classes were organised and live and open for enrolments. And so I jumped on that as well. So we will be learning to knit a jumper just before summer in South Australia hits. So I think the first class is early October, second class is end of October, and the third class is end of November. So we'll be knitting the jumper in stages. So far all we've done is selected done our measurements and what size jumper we want and selected our yarn for that. So I should be picking that up on the weekend when I'm there for the sock class. So I am all in. I am raring to go with knitting this year. 2026 has turned into the year of knitting for me, or learning to knit and finishing off a few knitting things. But look, in the meantime, I'm still really keen to do my crochet. And the thing that I've discovered with that cowl that we are, excuse me, that we are knitting at the moment, as part of that workshop series, is it requires severe focus because of all the lace work. It is not just like, you know, knit for a whole round, purl for a whole round. It is, there's, you know, knit 3, skip a stitch, slip a stitch, knit 2 together. It's just really have to focus where in the pattern I'm up to. And so that one I've been doing like when I have a couple of hours to just sit and focus on it. So it's been very sporadic. I don't think I've worked on it since last Wednesday, honestly. No, I haven't. And so the crocheting at night time is really good because I can sit back and watch either a TV show or some YouTube videos or a movie or something. I can do all of that and still get progress on a crochet project. So the crochet is still crucial. Excuse me, got a tickle in my throat. I'll just have a glass of water. I should have made a coffee. I should have made a coffee. I was worried it would get cold. Anyway, not sure what's going on there, but where was I going with that? Yeah, so even though it's turned into the year of knitting for me, or learning to knit, crochet very much still a priority, and so many projects taking me all the way up to mid-2027. No, mid-2028. Oh my gosh. I've got all of next year covered with projects that I want to do, which include maybe 3 knitting projects, mostly crochet projects. There's 25 projects on the list at the moment. Now, the reason that just keeps growing is, so a few videos ago, I did a video about feeling overwhelmed, and it was before I decided to knuckle down and focus on one thing at a time. Anyway, in that video, I mentioned in passing how I would really love to aim to do one day an Attic 24 blanket and a Janie Crow blanket. They are 2 designers who just have gorgeous blankets, and Janie Crow especially. I think if I do a Janie Crow blanket, I will feel like I've really accomplished something, because they look so intricate and they look complicated. I don't know if they are. They probably are. Certainly a lot more attention than I've ever given a crochet blanket, I would think. So anyway, the mere mention of them got this into my head, you know, and I guess because I was at home sick and I was bored, and I was just like, I'm just going to look on Wool Warehouse and see what blanket kits they've got. I went ahead and ordered the 2 blanket kits. Now, last Wednesday when I was sitting at home feeling sorry for myself, oh yeah, so obviously I ordered these beforehand because they came from the UK, but last Wednesday when I was home feeling sorry for myself, Australia Post delivered 2 bags of yarn, which felt like Santa coming with a sack, because look at these bags of yarn. So one of these bags of yarn is all the yarn for an Attic 24 blanket, and the other is all the yarn for a Janie Crow blanket. So I bit the bullet and I have ordered all the blanket kits for those, and they arrived last week. I was so happy when I saw the postman come. It was like Christmas. So the 2 blankets that I've decided on. So for the Attic 24 blanket, I'm going to be making this dune blanket. I just absolutely love the colours. I love the seashell pattern. So Wool Warehouse in the UK sells the kits, so you get the pattern with it. Otherwise, I believe the pattern is available on the Attic 24 website. She has so many, and it was so hard to choose just one, but I need to start with just one. So I have put these into my priority list. So they are there. They've got dates against them. I can't remember when they come up. I have a feeling I did push them ahead of some other things because I was just so excited at these gorgeous colours and gorgeous patterns. And the Janie Crow one I'm doing is the traditional Persian tiles blanket. Yeah, that is the one where I'm like, if I can do that, I'm going to feel like I've accomplished something with crochet. Oh, I'm just so excited to start both of these. They're just beautiful, just beautiful. So yeah, as a consequence of that, even though I finished 2 things and got them off my list, I'm at 25 things, and I've got scheduled things all the way up till the middle of 2028, which is just crazy. And I know there will be other things that slot themselves in. Jill at Gumleaf Crochet is already talking about doing a mystery crochet along, which will be a blanket. I always get excited by her patterns. I will probably want to join in with that. But I've got so many of her things that I still want to do and that are in my schedule. So I really got to get Anne's granny blanket done to start with. So yeah, and I will link to that playlist in my description, so you'll see that. And I think, oh, the only other thing that I purchased in the last fortnight was I had to bite the bullet and buy myself, well, I didn't have to, but I bit the bullet and bought myself a proper wool winder. I just bought a cheap one. It's just a manual one. It's not a fancy electronic one or anything like that. Because as I was finishing winding the yarn for this cowl, I just finished winding the yarn, and then the handle broke off my last wool winder, which, if you have watched other videos, may recall is the one my husband 3D printed for me, and it's the second handle to come off. The first one came off before I even had a chance to use it, with just my daughter playing with it. This time the handle came off for me, and I was just like, oh, this is a perfect excuse to buy myself a wool winder. So I did that, and that's what wound up this cake of yarn, which I mean, it winds beautifully, and it was so fast. Now that I've got the Swift and the winder, oh my goodness, it's so quick and no knots that I have to work through. Hopefully I haven't jinxed it now that I have boasted about it. But yeah, so it has been a fortnight of illness, of focusing on projects. 2 works finished, 2 more knitting classes enrolled in, a whole bunch of yarn bought, things added to the priority list just as quickly as they're taken off of it. Oh boy. So there was a lot to talk about today. I've also got this t-shirt I love called it says I'd rather be crocheting, which, oh, let me see. Oh yeah, it's not really getting in there, but you get the idea. I am fully committed to knitting and crochet this year. After that overwhelm feeling, I've found my feet again. It feels so nice to be able to tick things off the list. added a couple of things on again. That's okay, because I feel like I'm getting through things. I feel like I'm learning lots with knitting and improving, albeit slowly, but improving. I do see improvement. Yeah, really excited for all the projects to come. Anyway, I have prattled on non-stop for, my gosh, 25 minutes. Okay, time to go finish drinking that cup of water, get back to work. I hope you all have had a wonderful fortnight. I hope you're all feeling healthy and well, and I hope you continue to have a good week. Please feel free to leave me a comment. Let me know what you've been working on, either in the community tab or comment on this video if you like. I love seeing what people are up to. I love hearing about what people are up to. Please share the channel or think about subscribing if you haven't subscribed. I could go into a whole thing about the changes that YouTube have brought in and how I've been mentally thinking about all of that. Might save that for another time. Or you know what? YouTube's been saturated with videos talking about it. Essentially, my purpose for starting this channel hasn't changed. I started it so I could talk about crochet with a bit of a captive audience, to just sit and get this out of my system, because people in real life aren't really interested, and so I figure there's people online who might be. I certainly love watching videos of people chatting crochet, chatting about what they're working on, showing off their yarn. Like, I love those kinds of videos, and so I just thought I would do the same, and I have really genuinely enjoyed it over the last 3 months. I really have. It's been really enjoyable, and the whole getting monetized thing was never something I thought I could achieve, but it was kind of like oh, that would be nice to be able to reach that goal one day. I can't see it happening before they change the goalposts in February, and I'm trying not to, well, no, it hasn't changed my purpose of being here, so I'm okay with it. It would be nice to reach that goal, and initially I was like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. Now I'm okay with it. Anyway, even though I said I wasn't going to talk about it, I ended up quickly just talking about it. That's it in a nutshell. That's my thoughts on that. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here and go back to what I need to do. So I will see you all next week. Bye.